Hi, my name's Jack, and I wanted to share a weird/funny experience I had while playing Pokemon Go. I live in a slightly rural city with around 30,000 or so people living here. There is only one part of the city which has any gyms or Pokestops at all, which happens to be the forest. Great placing, Niantic. Anyways, I was really bummed out when I realized that I had to go into the forest to actually level up and take over any gyms. I went into the forest the first day to check the whole thing out. The first gym isn't too far into the woods at all, which is good. I went and checked it out and made my way out of the forest. The second day I was planning on going into the forest was a little different, however. I had work all day, so the only time of the day that I could really play was after work, which was around 7 p.m. I was taking small, sneak breaks to check what Pokemon were around my office at some points, but there were only a couple. Anyways, I left my apartment at around 7:30 and headed into the forest. I had my 264 CP EV ready to take over the second gym. The first one was way too overpowered, so I decided to skip over it and move on to the second gym that I saw. It was really dark now, at around 8:30 p.m. I finally make it to the gym after a long walk. The trees and leaves made the forest even darker. I'm 21 now, by the way, so I'm not exactly afraid of the dark, but it does make me a bit uneasy. But then again, who does it not do that to? I walk up close enough to the gym to be able to click on it and enter it, and I hear slight footsteps from behind me. I turn around and I see a girl, maybe 15 or 16 years old. She looks at me and says, "Hey, are you playing Pokemon too?" I replied, "Yeah." And she said that she was waiting for someone to help claim the gym. I asked what Pokemon team she was on. She said she was on Team Valor, and I said that I was on Team Valor as well, so we can help take over the gym together. Now, this is where it gets a bit creepy. She says that she's going to get something out of her car. I ask her how she managed to get a car through these woods. The whole place was surrounded by trees. She told me that it didn't matter how she got her car in here, and she would be back in 20 minutes. I thought to myself that I don't have time to wait for this girl, so I started battling the Pokemon gym by myself. The Pokemon I battled was a Porygon. I won, and the gym was now in Team Valor's name. It took about 5 minutes to take over the gym, so I decided, what the hell, I guess I'll just wait for this girl to come back. About 10 minutes have gone by, and I hear an engine far off in the distance. The sound of the engine slowly gets closer and closer until after about 2 minutes, and I see a car come out of the path into the open bit of woods that I'm in. I didn't even know that there was a path there until I saw this car coming down it. The girl hops out of the car and asks me why I took over the gym without her. I told her that she was taking too long, and she just smiles and says that it's okay. She tells me that it's starting to get cold out and she wants to go home, and she offers me a lift back. I ask if she's driving, and she says, "No, my dad is. He's waiting in the car right now." I was a bit skeptical being offered a lift by some random stranger, but me being too nice and naive, I accept the ride anyway. We walk to her car, and she asks me how long I've been playing Pokemon Go. I told her that I've only been playing it for a few days, which was the truth. We get into more small talk, and we finally reach her car. I don't see her dad in the driver's seat, but I just blame it on the night being too dark. I get into the car and I sit there awkwardly for about 10 seconds until I ask her where her dad is because he hadn't said anything. She tells me that he's getting something from the trunk and he will only be a minute. That's when I realized that this is a trap. I've been lured into a fucking trap. She hadn't said anything to her dad when we walked into the car, and she never even acknowledged anyone apart from myself. This person is fucking insane and wants to either kill me or capture me. This is when my fight or flight trigger kicks in. I decide to just get out and sprint for the woods. Nobody would be able to find me in between all of those trees. But maybe That's the plan. Maybe they're waiting for me to jump out so whoever she's with can hit me over the head with a shovel or something. In one quick motion, I take off my seatbelt while opening the car door, and I took the fuck off. I had my phone in one hand and a stone that I picked up in the other. I just ran for it. I don't know why I did what I did next, which was turn around and throw the stone at whatever was behind me. I heard it hit a tree. I didn't look back. I just sprinted and sprinted for at least 5 minutes until I was out of the woods and back onto the main road. I speed walked down the main road and finally reached the busy part of the city. Everybody can protect me here, I thought. So I casually walked back to my apartment, sweating and laughing. Laughing because of the adrenaline and escaping whatever kind of situation I was in. I make it back to my apartment safe and sound, though. Now, whenever I play Pokemon Go, I don't focus on capturing gyms, I just look for new Pokemon to catch and add to my Pokédex. The moral of this experience is, even if the person you meet playing Pokemon Go looks friendly, young, and harmless, they can still be bait for a much bigger threat. I stupidly took the bait that night, and I hope none of you do the same. Only play this game if you are with a group of friends. I don't know what would have happened to me the other night, but I don't want anything to happen to anybody else. If there is a Pokemon gym located in the woods near you, only travel to it if you are with a group of friends that you know well, and do it in the daytime. Stay safe out there. My mom and I went shopping, and while we were shopping, I saw a nearby Abra appear on my screen while playing Pokemon Go. I hadn't caught one yet, so I told my mom that I would be back, and I walked down the sidewalk of the shopping center to the corner of the road to go find it and catch it. I caught the Abra, and as I was walking back, a car pulled up behind me with 3 people in it, and one of the guys got out of the car and walked towards me. This man was obviously on drugs or something. He told me that he needed money to buy drugs, and that if I didn't give him the money, he was going to have to fight me. I'm definitely not the strongest person in the world, and there were 2 other people with him anyways, so I definitely would not have stood a chance regardless. I told him I didn't have any money on me at the moment, and I was just trying to go back home. He said that I wasn't allowed to go anywhere yet and that he would have to use my phone to call his parents. Pretty much forcefully took the phone out of my hand and made me unlock it so he could make his phone call. The guy was completely strung out on drugs because his mood changed instantly, and he gave me an awkward hug and said that I was a great guy. He took my phone and sat down in his car, but he didn't even make a phone call or anything. He just sat there for about 5 minutes as another guy walked up, and he asked that guy if he could help him out since, I wasn't helping, and the other guy started a conversation with him. At that moment, he decided it was okay for me to have my phone back and told me that I could leave. I've never been in such an awkward situation before because I didn't know what was even going to happen, and it easily could have took a turn for the worst. Now that I'm home, I haven't told my mom about what happened while I left, and I don't really feel comfortable going outside to play Pokemon Go anymore. And I don't know if I will be comfortable walking around outside to play the game at all again. Just as a warning, when playing this game, please be safe and travel with others when you go and play it. So today was my first day ever playing Pokemon Go. Me and 2 of my friends were just walking around and having fun while catching some Pokemon. At one point, we had to drive somewhere, so I still had my app open while we were in the car. I saw a rare Pokemon on the side of the road, and I told my friend to stop so I could get out of the car and catch it. I get out of the car, and I noticed that the Pokemon was located like 10 feet onto some dude's lawn. I had to walk a little up onto the grass as it was slightly out of reach. No big deal, right? Wrong. I walk up onto his grass and start to battle the Pokemon. No more than 5 seconds pass, and this dude walks out of his back door and starts coming towards me. I decide that I didn't want to have to confront anybody, and I quietly started walking away. He then calls out to me, saying,
Hey, what are you doing on my lawn? Don't you know that this is my house and my fucking property?
in which I simply begin to apologize, and I told him that I was about to leave. He then begins to curse me out and ask why I'm here. I just say that it wasn't anything important, and he says that it may be if he wants to call the cops. I told him that I was playing Pokemon Go on my phone and decided that it wouldn't be a big deal to walk a few feet onto the grass to catch a Pokemon. He responds to this with,
Don't you ever come here again, or I will break that goddamn phone over your stupid ass head.
along with several other threats. I then walk back to the car and get in, and my friend apologizes to the man again because my friend had his windows up and was on his phone, not really paying attention to what was going on. The man proceeded to threaten my friend with similar threats and told me that if I kept smiling, he was going to beat my ass. I wasn't even smiling, I was biting my lip because the situation was making me really nervous. The man then tells us to fuck off and tells us how crazy he is and whatnot. Then my friend in the back seat begins to antagonize him even further by saying, "Have a nice day," to which he responds with,
Fuck off.
and my friend responds with, "Yeah, love you too." Then we dusted the guy. I wouldn't have cared if he thought that I was up to something fishy and came out to question me. He has every right to do so. But to continue to scream at the top of his lungs and curse us all out after I literally showed him what I was doing on my phone and how harmless it was, that was a bit excessive. The man had apparently been involved in some crazy encounters in my neighborhood, but not once was I ever informed of this man living anywhere near me. This wasn't necessarily a scary situation, more annoying than anything, but regardless, this guy still creeped me out.